businesses cannot thrive because the atmosphere of uncertainty affects somebody who plans his business, and if things keep changing, they can't really do the business. So the Indian public, having voted a government with good majority, expecting stability in policy, and more importantly, a transparent way in which policy-driven decisions are being taken, not discretionary, not with subjective decision making. That has, I think, and I'm sure all of you will agree, that has actually borne fruits. Only because of that kind of a stable, clear-headed leadership, you are seeing that even during the pandemic, this country, in spite of people and their sufferings, I'm not forgetting that even for a moment. People suffered. Everybody suffered. But everybody came out to help one another. Came out to make sure that even if it is exposing them to the risk of COVID, they came out and for their neighbors or friends or relatives, kept sending food, kept sending medicines, went and at least on the phone or stood outside the gate and spoke to them saying, "Are you okay? Do you want us to do something?" The extraordinary way in which people of India struggled during that phase, helped one another. And at a policy level, at an administration level, at governance level, the Prime Minister kept constantly discussing with the Chief Ministers of the state to find out where what help is needed. Oxygen to some place, PPE kits for some other place. At that time, the few medicines which were used, whether they were appropriate, whether they were actually absolutely the solution or not, doctors felt that may help and they hoped that medicine. So that medicine to be reached. Many hospitals couldn't even have oxygen produced in their own premises, following the capacity. So, people to people, administration, with the state administration, all of them were working together. As a result, after COVID, with the vaccine coming, and with government making sure, working together with the state governments, that the last person in any corner of the village will also be vaccinated. So they went house after house after house. And in that there was a scientific way in which the government worked together with ICMR, Indian Council for Medical Research. So first it was given for elder citizens, senior citizens, for people with comorbidities. And then it was brought down to the 40 and above. And then it was brought down to 30 and above. Then it was brought down to 18 plus. And in the meanwhile also students who were expecting to go abroad to study, they, and so on. So there was a systematic approach which was available for you in the form of an app on your phone. So much work from A to Z was done by the government. It wasn't as if one thing was done, other things were let loose. So a government which was conscious that it had to do all this, at the same time, keep supporting the farmers. Make sure that the farmers who were even that year producing the maximum produce are given all the facilities. And incidentally, that year, you also had global fertilizer price hitting the roof. We still imported it at that cost. We didn't say it's gone 10 times more, 3 times more, 8 times more, we can't afford it, we still bought it. But the entire additional cost was borne by the union government. It was not passed on to the farmers. Not one paisa extra was charged to the farmers for the bori, as they say, or a bag full of fertilizer, which is a standard. So the challenges were not just COVID related, but challenges were also related to external considerations. Fuel price, fertilizer price, At the same time, India has to produce its own vaccine. All these were taken up without causing trouble to the people, and solutions were found. As a result of the way in which people of India has adapted technology, the adaptation rate is also something which is astonishing. Globally, the only 68% adaptation is there. India has 84-85%. So common people are able to use technology to improve their lot, do better business, bring ease of doing business. Even for a vegetable purchasing, lady from the house goes and she is able to pay 7 rupees for something, she pays it on the QR code. So these are not small achievements, and world recognizes this. 2 lakh crores of rupees were saved by Government of India after we started the DBT. Direct benefit transfer. You need to get a pension, you get it in your account. Kisan Samman Nidhi, you get it in your account. Some Bima Yojana in which you are eligible to get some money, you get it in your account. Even the PM Kisan, which is given to so many farmers, is going into the account. 6,000 rupees in a year, but 2,000, 2,003 installments. As a result, taxpayers' money, which the government is responsible to use responsibly, spend responsibly, and not create false claims out of it. People who are not existing in the villages or who are not born, people who have never been in the village, are all listed, and in their names money was being distributed earlier. All that was stopped. You realized, end of the day, you saved 2 lakh crores. That's not a small sum at all. Who was it going to? Who was benefiting from it? Is it not the responsibility of a government to stop such pilferage, such leakage? That's exactly what the central government has done. And I'm giving you that as an example to tell you, when you digitized, and digitized at that pace, equally when you open general accounts at that pace, cover everybody who needs to have a bank account. The result is this: you have a bank account, you're the poorest of poor, you don't have a balance in your account. I know very many thinking Indian citizens also question Prime Minister. They said, sir, zero balance account, how will you open it? After that, who will give the servicing for it? After all, every account something is charged by the bank, some small amount is charged. Who will pay the zero bank account? Everything was taken care of, but we insisted that the account should be open for the person. Everybody should have a bank account. And because everybody was given a bank account during the COVID, women got their small help. Senior citizens got their help. And so on. So I'm not elaborating on it, but the point is, keeping India in mind, digitization, taking forward certain welfare measures in such a way that only those who deserve it will get it, avoid pilferage, be responsible, all this is happening. And in COVID, after COVID came the war, you are able to see how, in spite of all these challenges, India today, when even the developed countries in the Western world are facing recession, India is the fastest growing country in the world this year. We should all as Indians be proud that a stable government, a visionary leader, which is what we voted for in 2014, has implemented Jan Dhan Yojana, has implemented PM Awas Yojana, give the Garib the house that he so deserves, water so that his family doesn't have to walk miles to get the water, Ayushman Bharat so that 5 lakhs of rupees he can spend without having to even pay cash or show identity, nothing. If PM Ayushman Bharat beneficiary, he gets 5 lakh rupee treatment in the empaneled hospitals. All this has happened and came COVID, and therefore we have withstood the challenge and come out of it. So if this is the way in which we are bringing everybody along, sabka saath, sabka vikas, as opposed to the way in which earlier we were told, the first charge on the budget is for the minorities. You would have heard that comment by a respected Prime Minister. We are not denying anybody. We are not denying anybody saying, no, you are this, you are that, nothing of that. If you don't have a house, if you are eligible for it, you get it. We don't look at any of these considerations. And that is why it is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas and Sabka Vishwas. And the time for Sabka Prayas has come, and Indian people have shown that their prayas will never be found wanting. That was proved during COVID, that was proved even afterwards when India's economy was reviving. And that is why, that's right, the people of India, and that is why this year, 1st February 2023, I gave the budget. First line I said was, this is the first budget for Amrit Kaal. Unless we have that vision that by 2047, when we will be 100 years old from the imperial rule, India is an ancient civilization. It wasn't born on 1947. It's a very ancient civilization. So, after imperial rule, if in 1947 we've come out, and 2047 if we don't have a vision, and if we're still going to be only talking about Garibi Hatao, yes, हटाने के काम करना चाहिए, ना कि बोलना. 20-point program for Garibi Hatao. Do we know any one of the features of the 20-point program? And this didn't bear the result. We still have pockets of India where poverty exists. We still have such backwardness, which Prime Minister, by announcing 116 such districts, he said even that he will not call it backward. He said they are aspirational districts. They are the districts who are expecting to grow like other areas. Why should we condemn them by saying you're backward? So by giving that attention to backward areas, 116 such aspirational districts for the last over 5-6 years, you are seeing even aspirational districts are achieving full saturation on important criteria. I heard the mention of Human Development Index. When I was in the media, even there that was the question asked, how about Human Development Index for, when Prime Minister wants to give the very Awas Yojana, Pakka house, when Prime Minister's scheme gives electricity to these people who so deservedly need it, without any discrimination, when roads go to the villages, which until then did not even have an access road, when they get internet, it's not a luxury to have internet, now it's very basic for even doing basic businesses. When 5G services are coming, which are truly and totally Indian, not imported from some country. When hospitals are built at block level, when AIIMS are being built, at least one per state, in some states even 2 and 3. After all, money is being given. And after all, when you give bed of hospital, when drinking water reaches home, when electricity is there in the houses, when you have pakka roof over your head, when wellness centers are next to you in the blocks, are they not contributing to Human Development Index? Is that separate measure? Has that measure come out of mass? No. It reminds you that you have to attend to these kind of features so that the quality of life for every citizen improves. And after that, if access to education, access to health is available, he will decide where he wants to do what he wants to do with his children. That's exactly what is happening when we are talking about health, when we are talking about education, the new education policy has opened it up for every state to have aspirations. You can do things with your own language. So the holistic approach to development is what PM plans, and that's what has shown results. The transformational change that India has seen in the last 8-9 years. I was going back from Bangalore to Delhi 2 days ago. Next to me was seated some Indian citizen, but who for being in Japan. He on his own started speaking to me and said, look, I don't belong to your party, I have nothing to do with your party, I've been living abroad 20 years, yes, I'm an Indian citizen, all right. And in between nearly for 6-7 years, I didn't even come to India, but now there's expanding business, so I'm coming. And he on his own said that what he had seen about 10 years ago and what he's seeing today, unbelievable change. He said now, not only I'm seeing this change, but outside too, when we are in groups of people and I'm the only Indian, or when I'm in a group with other countries and all that, the moment people see me on their own, they say, are you from India? No, you're doing well. So that's the sense of being recognized for what is happening in India. Unless it is happening, why will they recognize? And what will they gain by recognizing you? Change is happening, and happening in a distinctly significant way. We have to take it. We may want more, that is legitimate and that is acceptable. But to deny that nothing and no change is made, economy is languishing or suffering, we are all down in the dumps. Indians, to be fair to them, to be fair to all of us, even in war times have never said that. 64, 71, we never said that. And you are able to think of bringing British time war time